Alright friends, it's Good Music Fan, the Rabid Cyclist coming at you. I thought today we'd talk about bike touring. Now, some of you, and I do apologize for me having to hold the mic, but unfortunately it is a little noisy around here, so it may not pick up everything. Well, what is bike touring? Well, in a nutshell, bike touring is taking your bike and riding, like say from here to, if you're in Salt Lake, right from here to Ogden or back. That's an overnight ride, or possibly two, depending on how fast you pedal. A definition of biking: anything from as little as 3 days, I'm told, to as long as, like, I think the current record's now a year and a half. This lady's been on tour. She's pedaling around the planet, so that's the definition that we'll use here. There is another one called bike packing, and basically it's bicycle backpacking or bike camping. Very closely related cousin, the other side of the coin. Use whatever expression you like. Really, I've wanted to do this for a number of years because many years ago, I was just serving the net. My my favorite website was down, and I just bike touring. Well, what's this? So follow the link, and it was this guy's personal webpage that he built of his tour he did. I want to say around the year 2000, maybe, or 97 at the absolute earliest. And I just read it, and there were, I think, 162 pages for the entire length of the trip he was gone, plus a few pages for his equipment, afterthoughts, updates, addenda, and all that stuff. And I'll tell you this, I loved it a lot. I remember the day clearly because I looked down, yeah, whatever, 5 o'clock. I look up, sun's gone down. What the heck? Look down, it's 7:30. I mean, I was just, stunned. But, I enjoyed reading that article. I mean, it was really cool. Then I got put onto a website called CrazyGuyOnABike.com. Now, I'll put the link down in the description box. But this site, if you're looking for touring journals, as they're called, or forums that are geared specifically, or discussion boards and that specifically geared toward bike touring, this is the first stop for a lot of people. Now, I'm also going to put up a link to a group called Bike Forums, and they have several different subforums from, mechanics, fixed gears, recumbents, cargo bikes, and they do have one for touring. And that one, it might take you a few days of reading through the journals to look for information. This one here, go back a few page clicks, you'll probably find what you need. My wife asked in Bike Touring about people who have cycled with diabetes, and I am a diabetic, and I do have to take insulin. And I thought, okay, am I going to have to carry a cooler with ice or, very, very cold water to keep my insulin safe? And they sent me a link, and I'm going to post it up in here for you, right here. These little gadgets, you soak them in water, you leave them hanging out. If you've got racks or, mesh pockets on any of your bags, and we'll get into bike panniers, leave it in there, let the wind hit it. And apparently it stays very, very cold. Cold enough to keep it viable. I've even had people who talked to my wife said they don't use anything, they just bury it deep in their pannier, and it stays cool enough to be viable for the length of the trip. So that's cool. But anyway, let's get on with it here. Okay, you have two types of bikes you can take on a bike tour. You've got your upright, or you've got your recumbent. Either one of these work. People have successfully toured with both. And like I said, I believe in a previous video, the only type of bicycle tour I haven't heard of is someone on a unicycle. Other than that, they've all been done. Velomobiles, recumbents, long wheelbase, short wheelbase, diamond frame, tandems, penny farthings, for crying out loud. They've all been done. So, it really, it's what you want to ride, what you feel comfortable with. Now, we're going to get into a little bit here about some different styles of touring bike, but one of the things I do want to point out, just for legal reasons. I'm only pointing up what has come up most in the bike touring forums that I read, various tour journals on crazyguyonabike.com, and one or two others. That does not mean these are the only ones out there. There was one lady who, I believe, in the late 90s, possibly, or even in the early aughts, she toured on a folding bike, and basically the bike folded up into the trailer she was carrying. But she toured. Now, there are a couple of definitions. Are you going to go credit card touring, which basically means you're going to be pedaling and pedaling and pedaling until you get to some place with a hotel, pay for a credit card, meals, and then go. That's the ultimate lightweight touring. It's been done. I wouldn't do it myself, partly the fact my credit rating sucks. But, to me, that's just not what I want to do. I don't begrudge anyone who does it or does it now. When I first read about it, I went, really? They can't be bothered just to throw some stuff on their bike? Next, you have self-supported tours. Now, these ones are the ones where you see these guys with bikes that have bags and tools and whatnot on the front of the bike, bags and tools and whatnot on the back. Now, we will talk about trailers here in just a bit, so bear with me. That kind of touring is self-supported. Now, there is another type of touring, and Adventure Cycles of America, which is an organization which specializes in this sort of thing, and I'll put the link down in the description box. They're the ones that actually kind of kicked off the whole bicycle touring thing back in 1976 when they did the Bicentennial ride, and it eventually evolved into the Adventure Cycling Association of America. And I enjoy their work. Some of their routes are a little there's not many that come through the great state of Utah. Now, I'm not saying that Utah is a bad place to cycle, far from it. If you're a mountain biker, Utah is apparently up there on the places you want to go. They got some good single tracks. From a cycle touring standpoint, not so much. The two routes that can actually come through Utah, one takes you over Colorado, or actually the Transamerica Trail, or that route from Adventure Cycling, goes westbound until it hits Pueblo, Colorado. Now from there it splits off into two different directions. It either goes up and over Utah, bypassing it entirely, which is something I think is we've got some real pretty country here. Yeah, I'm biased. I was raised here my whole life. Where other people see desolate desert, if you know where to look and see it for what it is, it's very pretty country. Or you've got the Western Express, which is a route that goes along southern Utah, through Nevada, and a bit of and some of California. Exactly what route, I don't know. But you can look it up on Adventure Cycling and get a rough idea for where it is. So, if you'll give me just a second, we'll be right back.
Okay, friends, sorry about that. I had to stop recording for a bit. There was some sort of tussle next door with my neighbors, but we got it all sorted out now. So, anyway, getting back to route selection. Adventure Cycling Association of America has routes for the northern tier, southern tier, both coasts. The Canal Discovery Tour, I believe, is one. They've got the Western Express, which basically cuts along the bottom half of Utah through a small part of Nevada and the smallest possible part of California to get you quickly. Now, those are some of the routes that you can do. You know what? There are plenty of aids. I'm going to give you a link to a couple of the ones I have used to do my touring on. I've done them. They're nice. I haven't done a cross-country one yet. Financial time constraints have been the two biggest ones. But I'll give you the link to those ones in the comment section. Okay, next one you're going to want to say, what kind of touring are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing self-supported? And you've seen these kind of touring rigs where guys have got the front and back of their bike loaded with stuff. Wow, is he homeless? Okay, odds are, even if the guy was homeless, he may not look it anyway. And quite frankly, when you see a cycling tourist go by, he may look homeless just because he's got everything on that works for what he needs. Now, that could be a bandana around the neck, some sort of hat with a tail on it to cover his neck, or it could be some guy who's riding in full cycling kit going cross country. Okay, I mean, if that's what you want to do, fine, no big deal. But that's self-supported. Now, a subset of that is, are you going to camp, or are you going to, stay in motels? There is a type of touring called credit card touring, which basically you get up in the morning from your hotel room, pedal 30, 40, 50 mile, or whatever your distance is for that day to the next town with you check in for the night, get your food. Pardon me, bad beans. And you do that. People have successfully toured with this. Hello, Mitty Poo. Say hi. That's my dog Mittens, folks. It's possible to do that kind of touring, but for me, it always kind of isn't touring about taking things with you so that you don't have to stop there so you can camp? I mean, if you're just going to do a tour, of, say, of the wine country in your area, that's fine. But, it's what people are comfortable with. Some people want to just go as fast as they can with the bike loaded with the absolute minimum they need to get them from point A to point B, so they can get from the Motel 6 in one night to the Holiday Inn at the next night. That's fine. I won't do it, partly because my credit sucks, but we'll go that route. Now, one thing I do want to ask you people to do, if you're going to camp and not do credit cards, you are going to occasionally have to, or flat out just want to, stay in a hotel room. If for no other reason, you don't want to haul out your sleeping pad in your sleeping bag, every night, fluff them out. You just want to be able to take a day off, and a lot of people do this in a motel room. They fold out their stuff so that, it can be aired out, washed, give the bike a good thorough going over without having to worry about that anthill down the road coming up to bite you. Taking days off like that. So plan on at least, if you're going to be gone for anything long in the month, at least a stay or two in a motel room. At least one to kind of, okay, I'm at the halfway point. Let's catch up on my journal. Let's talk to people we need to, let them know. An aspect of bike touring you may or may not be aware. You can leave mail for yourself or have your family send you care packages. Now, I didn't know about this when I did my first one, and I wish I had. It would have made my life just a whole lot simpler. But what you do is you set it for will call, general delivery will call, and more often than not, any place that takes mail will do this for you. It's easy, it's fine, it's safe. Try and time it so that when you get to major places like, okay, I just came out of the mountains, and now I want to switch from the mountain rear cluster that I have to the more flatlands cluster so I can get a bit more speed. You can do that. People have actually done that before. They'll send the tools in a box to where they got, along with the parts they need, switch out and go. You might decide, well, I really didn't need this folding thing that goes on my bike so it stands up in the wind or whatever. Send that home. Send clothes home. Send appropriate clothes. If you're going to start out and it's kind of chilly in the mountains, maybe some snow, maybe you want to think about some thermal gear to keep you warm while you're pedaling. I advise you to go kind of light on that unless you know how if you know how your body handles in cold and whatnot, take what you need. And then once you get down out of there and you're in the flat plains or mountains aren't going to be a problem, or the weather is finally cleared up enough to where, yeah, it's a little cold, but I'm okay. Send it home. The less you carry, the better off you're going to be. Now with that, camping in general, do yourself a favor. Plan your route out ahead. Find where the camping areas are, places to go. You can camp in some city parks. It's better to ask at the town hall or police station about that. Provided you've got no outstanding arrest warrants, if there's no other option, you may be able to bring your whole bike into the police station. That has been done. You sleep in a cell, they just leave the door open for you, and you leave in the morning. This might work better in a small town than a big city, but, do what you had. But back to that planning bit, find where they are and call ahead. What are their rates? What amenities do they have? Now, for a cycling tourist, amenities boil down to basically two things. Showers, 1, and laundry facilities, 2. Everything else is gravy. Those are the two things most cycling tourists will kill for. The hot shower thing especially. I mean, you will have to pack along a set of showering shoes, and most people get by, folks, with either Crocs or flip-flops. I'd rather not do either. I've got a pair of these Japanese wooden sandals that I've used. I mean, I use them if I'm in some place and I don't know the clinic. I can at least step on them, shower myself. Then if I have to, I can just sit on the toilet and scrub my feet. I'm done. But you are going to take those. There are a lot of things. Check out what kind of camping. If you've never been camping before, or you've been camping but don't know what would go for it, don't necessarily, folks, go for the lightweight gear. Yeah, if you're counting the ounces, that's fine, but there's a trade-off on biking where how much something weighs versus how much it's going to help you. Now, getting back, if a place you call is only open for a specific time period, and you're going to start out here, realistically, what's your mileage going to be like? If you're trying to hit all these campgrounds so that you can stay there and have really cheap nights, and then maybe once every 2-3 weeks stay in a motel, be realistic about your options. There are going to be some days you're just going to blow right through your target. And, 40 miles? Oh, that was 20 miles ago. Well, whoops. Not a bad thing. Yeah. At that, we'll be right back, folks, okay?
All right, folks. So going on about mileage and everything, a general rule of thumb, if you're going to start planning and training for it, and you really should, it has been successfully done where someone had no training, basically jumped on their bike and got there, but it took them a while to get into it, and reading some of these journals, at certain points, had they had the option, they would have probably gone home. So do yourself a favor for a successful tour, get some training in. Mileage every day. I mean, weather permitting, and even then, even if it's piss and rain, get out and rain in it, because odds are you're going to get caught in piss rain once. Deal with it. Generally, if you're the type that cycles 6 to 7 miles every day to get to work, 6 to 7 miles to come home, that's good. If you're a commuter on a bike, you're already set up for it. On the weekends or days you have off, put in a high mileage day. Put in 15, 20 miles. That's going to make it 30 to 40 miles round trip. And this is going to help you out. Now, if you get doing that consistently and 40 miles round trip, you get done and you're like, I'm not feeling too bad. Consistently, hey, you might be able to knock out 50, 60 miles in one day. Not necessarily going to happen, but a lot depends on your training. Get to know your bike. If the bike you're going to be taking on the trail taking on your tour is not the one you have right now, get some training miles out there anyway. Then when you have the bike you're going to take out, put in some serious effort with that thing. You're going to know how things work, what parts are wiggling loose, what seems to wear faster. You're going to get used to the eccentricities of the bike you have. Now I'm going to close out this part of this touring video. We're going to post some. I'm going to post several more, but I'm going to close this one out with style of bike. Generally, biking falls into, or cross-country touring boils down to basically two things: an upright bike or a recumbent of some sort. Now, the most popular one, or at least the one that seems to get the most amount of mention on most touring forums or on crazyguyonabike.com or anything else, is the Trek 520. It's a very good, link right here, very good design. I've had a chance to ride one. It was a little cramped for me. I'm a big guy, so if they'd made one a little bit bigger, I might like it. But, other option is recumbents. Now, recumbents can be anything from, above seat steering, below seat steering, long wheelbase, short wheelbase. Tours have been done successfully with everyone. You can get a recumbent trike. They've been done successfully. A rather perverse thing, most people who tour on a bike, who have done one on an upright, and then do one on a recumbent, have noticed that on recumbents, people seem to give them a bit more attitude, a bit more leeway. Well, most of the time, if you're going to be pedaling down the road, folks, do yourself a favor, put some sort of safety indicator behind you, like one of those yellow triangles. Most places have, or most states have a business where you can buy like these safety cones or these safety flags and whatnot. If not, check with your Better Business Bureau. They might be able to give you some information, or just do a quick web search. Most recumbent riders that I know of or that I've read of, I should say, have a pole, one of those flexible graphite or fiberglass poles that have a flag. That's going to be sitting right up there in the driver's line of view. Yeah, they're going to notice it. Are you going to notice a guy who's just got a safety cone? Yeah, you will. But if something's moving, you look right to it. It's that whole ooh, squirrel effect. Get one of those so that you can be seen, especially in low light conditions where a light, flashing or not, may or may not be, but when someone's got headlights pointed right at your back, they're going to see that reflective triangle and go, whoa, there's someone. Let's move around him. Not much else I can tell you about right now about bikes aside from before you take off, get your bike properly maintained, checked out, give it a full overhaul. Even if you're the kind of guy who works for a living, go over it yourself, take it to someone you trust, and have them go over it because maybe they'll spot something you missed. This does happen. I don't care how good you are, you will occasionally forget something, and this could come back with disastrous consequences. So anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I'll see you in just a few days with the next installment of this series. It's probably going to be a 3-parter, maybe 4. I don't know. But anyway, this is Good Music Fan, the rabid cyclist saying, look over your left shoulder, mind the road, and God us bless. Thank you.